Hi, photographing birds today. So I'll show you guys kind of what I'm doing, kind of the settings I'm on and the equipment I'm using. It's late fall in northern Ontario right now, and it's looking pretty muddy, pretty disgusting outside, and everywhere I go, it's like I'm in the scene from the Blair Witch Project, so landscape's pretty much out of the question. So I'm just photographing birds, and I'll show you what I do to get my bird shots. So after you get your bird's feeder set up, the first thing you want to do is just back off a little bit and watch the birds. And what I've noticed is that for the most part, they're landing right here. They're landing on this branch with a lot of open space right here, and that's really what I'm focusing on. There's a lot of other little branches around that they're landing on as well, but for the most part, 80% of the time, they're landing right here. So that's where I'm going to focus. I'm going to pre-focus my camera on autofocus single. I'm shooting on burst mode, so when a bird does land here, I'm going to refocus on the bird and just shoot away. I'm on burst mode, so hopefully I get a good shot, and then they'll go to the feeder, grab their seed, and then they'll take off. And I'll wait for the next bird to come by. He'll land here. I'll refocus on the bird, shoot, 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 and then he'll land on here, get his seed, and take off. And so I'll just keep doing that, and I'll pick the best photo out of, say, 50 photos. Every now and then, you know, they'll land here, they'll land here, they'll land here, up here, and I'll move around a little bit, but I'm going to focus on this area here for the most part. And it's just going to make your life easier if you focus on one spot and you're not all over the place. So once they're comfortable with the feeder, once they're comfortable with you, once you've observed them for a little while and you notice where they're going, you watch their behavior, you could start shooting on that spot that they tend to land on the most. So I'm just focusing on that branch. I have a 400mm lens. So you see what kind of distance I'm getting. I am shooting on aperture priority. I'm shooting on burst mode, autofocus single. My ISO is pretty high. It's a cloudy day. You need a fast speed. I am shooting handheld with a 400mm lens. Thank God there's good vibration reduction on it, because my ISO is at around 800. Typically I'm shooting with the D7000, not the D90, and at 800 ISO, it's pretty clean, so I don't mind. I don't mind shooting at 800 ISO. But in order to shoot handheld, that's what I'm doing. If you have a good tripod available to you, by all means use it. I like to be a little more mobile. I like to move around, and I like to move the camera around quickly, so I'm shooting handheld. So I'm just simply waiting for them to go on that branch, and I'm just firing away. I am wearing camouflage, but I'm not trying to be camouflaged. I'm just giving them a little bit of space so they're comfortable. Here's a nice wide-angle shot of my location. I just want to show you kind of why I picked this area, what I did, and why I did it on purpose. The first thing is I put the feeder down fairly low. That way I'm eye level when I'm photographing the birds. I hate photographing birds from underneath and all you see is butthole. So eye level, you're going to have great shots. The other thing is the sun goes down over here. And I usually work during the day, so when I come out here, I got about an hour of daylight. I position myself on this ridge, and the sun's hitting this feeder on this side. I'm positioned on the appropriate side, and I'm photographing perfectly lit birds in beautiful evening light. You don't want to be in a hole. You don't want to be in a forest area that's very thick. It's a little bit open. There's room for me to move around here. And this ridge right here allows me to back off and photograph the birds that are in the higher branches. Black-capped chickadees are very tolerant to people. But if a blue jay comes, a gray jay, or something like that, I need to back off. This high ridge allows me to back off and still be eye level with those birds that are a little more shy. So this is a prime area in my eyes. Really, you could do this in your own backyard. The only reason I chose this area was because I used it last year and it worked so good for me. Mostly because of those elements. And the other thing I thought is, if I was in the bush, I'd hopefully get more birds. But really, you could do this in your own backyard. So just one more point I'd like to make is that I did put this feeder out yesterday. I put it out yesterday, I left it there for most of the day, and here I am today photographing them. They're pretty much comfortable with it now at this point. They found it, they know it's a safe place to get food, and me being here isn't really disturbing them too much. So I put it out a day early and just left it be. I don't know how much that helped, but just one more little point I'd like to make there. So thanks for watching. I hope this helped. I hope you got something out of this that's going to help. All you really need is a bird feeder. You don't need any fancy equipment. A good telephoto lens, 55 to 250 or 70 to 300, anything like that. Aperture priority, burst mode, a higher ISO just to be safe. You want a good fast speed, especially if you're hand holding. But if you do have a tripod, strongly recommend using it. And that's about it, really. And a lot of memory card space because you're going to take a lot of pictures. Okay, thanks. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, because as I roll through the seasons, I'm just going to keep posting more and more videos on what I do to get my pictures. I'm not an expert. I just think I get pretty decent pictures, so I'd like to share with you guys what I'm doing, and hopefully it helps.